The next big star should be Indian cricket. Don't create a monster. Don't create a monster in that dressing room. The only monster in that dressing room should be Indian cricket. See, I was always against people endorsing alcohol, all this tobacco, and even for that matter, even this. I don't like that because it is a collective responsibility that what should be promoted in India and what should not be promoted in India, especially from the youngsters' point of view. The next big star should be Indian cricket. Don't create a monster. Don't create a monster in that dressing room. The only monster in that dressing room should be Indian cricket, not an individual. And good you asked me this question. I was the only one during that commentary stint when I said that when Virat Kohli got 100, and there was this young guy comes from a small town of Meerut who also managed to get 5 wickets. No one even bothered to speak about him, and which is so unfortunate. Who bowled 4 overs for 4 runs and 5 wickets, and I don't think so anyone going forward or anyone knows about that. But Virat Kohli scores 100, and it's everywhere. There are celebrations in this country, and who's created that? Two things. Just two things. Social media followers, which is probably the fakest thing that goes around in this country, because you are judged by your social media. How much followers do you have? And that is what creates a brand. And second, the media and the broadcasters. If you keep talking about one person day in, day out, it eventually becomes a brand. That is how it was in 83. Why do we go from MS? It has started from 83. When India won the first World Cup, it was all about Kapil Dev. When we won in 2007, it was MS Dhoni. When we won in 2011, it was MS Dhoni. Have we ever spoken about Indian cricket? Have we ever spoken that Indian cricket needs to flourish? No 1, 2 or 3 people are the stakeholders of Indian cricket. They don't rule Indian cricket. They should not be ruling Indian cricket. Indian cricket should be ruled by 15 people sitting in that dressing room. Everyone has a contribution to make. And that was something which I was trying to do when I was with KKR, because that is all I could have done when I was leading them for 7 years. That start appreciating small contributions. The big contributions, unfortunately, only makes headlines. It's those small contributions which we never bother about. Tell me how many people have spoken about Bhuvneshwar Kumar? No one. It was the same game, same opposition, everything is the same. आपने उसको 5 मिनट के इंटरव्यू के लिए बुला लिया, पोस्ट मैच इट्स डन एंड डस्टेड. हमने उसको 5 मिनट के इंटरव्यू के लिए बुलाया, चलाया कितना ये तो बताओ. Just because he's not a brand. Let's not only blame one or two. It has been going on since 1983, and the way forward is it will continue to go unless people will start raising their voice. People like you, people like Indian Express, which has been so honest. I have not gone to any other. मैं किसी Times of India या कहीं नहीं गया. I've come here because I feel that you guys can make a difference, and you guys should make a difference. Start contributing. Start giving appreciation to small contributions, especially when it comes to sports, because that is what Indian cricket needs. See, this is a very, very individual thing from an individual's point of view. What they want to do, whether they want to endorse a certain brand, whether they want to endorse a certain product, which is very individual. I personally do not believe in all that. See, I was always against people endorsing alcohol, all this tobacco, and even for that matter, even this. I don't like that because it is a collective responsibility that what should be promoted in India and what should not be promoted in India, especially from the youngsters' point of view.
Also, have you been approached by any of these companies?
Betting?
Yeah.
Never. I think Dinesh was once, and we were very clear. I don't even remember what company, and we were very clear that we're not going to endorse any betting site, or for that matter, even fantasy. Yes, I do. Fantasy, I do endorse. But fantasy, I was also very clear that we had this apprehension at one point of time that whether we should or not. But I think fantasy, if you compare fantasy to betting, probably it's little similar, but not probably exactly the same. So because the fantasy, what I endorse, I was when I spoke to the promoter, when I spoke to the owner, I said that, do you pay back in cash? He said that no, we don't pay back in cash. We only pay, there are only gifts involved. Gifts in a way that, okay, the hampers and all that stuff. So we were very clear, but the thing is, my fantasy contract has expired, which I had endorsed for 1 year. But in 1 year, I can assure you this, that it is not कि आपने पैसे लगाए और आपको पैसे वापस आपके account में आए. That is dangerous. That is something which is kind of betting. So we all need to be very clear on that front. We need to be very careful on that front. So I think there's a bit of a difference in being a politician and a cricketer, but the emotions are the same. Because as a cricketer, obviously you go through a lot of lows and highs, you go through a lot of satisfying days, you go through a lot of frustrating days as well. It's exactly the same with me in politics as well. I have gone through my good days in politics, I've gone through my bad days in politics, and I've gone through my frustrating and probably the most satisfying days as well. Probably far more satisfying than when I was a cricketer, because the thing is, when I see Ghazipur landfill coming down, it is far more satisfactory than winning a World Cup, to be honest, because that is something which impacts a lot of lives in East Delhi and probably in Delhi as well. And there are frustrating days when you know that you want to help someone, but you still can't because you go through a lot of red tapeism, which I personally feel should change. Because people like me, who comes from a different profession, especially cricket, where everything happens so quickly, and when you come into politics, you need to be much more patient, which I never was as a human being. I was very impatient when I was growing up, even till now. I want things to happen very quickly. I want things to happen every day. But in politics, that is one thing which I need to change as a person. And probably not being a politician, sometimes what happens is कि आप कुछ करना चाहते हैं, लेकिन चाहे वो bureaucracy हो, चाहे वो इतना delay होता है process, that it frustrates the hell out of you at times. For example, permissions and all that stuff. Because जब मैं politics में आया था, I thought that I could change everything in East Delhi. There was so much to change and so much to do in East Delhi. I thought that I'll change the entire thing, but slowly in last 3 years, I realized that everything takes its time. So that is something which I need to be careful of, because I can sometimes actually cross the line as well.